welcome back to Cute Chats. We're really excited to be back. And we have some great news. We have these wonderful guests here. So these are a good friend of ours, Latrice Simmons and Antoine Lance. Another godly couple, and we're just blessed to have them here to take time out of their busy schedules to spread God's love and to share wisdom that God has imparted within us to share with you guys. So, tell us a little bit about yourselves, how long you've been together, that sort of thing.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Aubrey and Mel, for having us on. We're excited to be here. Long story short, we're high school sweethearts, so we've been together 7.5 years, so a long time.
Very long.
Right. Aubrey was with us shooting in the gym, so she's been there since the beginning. So
True story.
right. So it's been a long road coming, but we're happy to be here.
I'm so excited. Okay, well, we're happy to have you guys. So, this is the next part of our series on godly dating. Now you've been through your single phase, you've been through the courting and talking phase, and then you guys finally decide to make it official. It's just y'all now. Hey, you my baby, I'm your baby. Now what? Okay, so the first,
item now.
yeah, you an item.
Yeah.
You know, what your mom, what do like grandparents used to say? You got a gentleman card.
Yeah. Got you a story.
Got you a what?
That's
that Newberry slice.
I ain't say what I said. Nobody might not know what I mean.
Might have to edit that out. No. But the first important thing we want to talk about is prayer. You know, you prayed through your single season for God to send you somebody. You pray during the talking phase, hey God, is this the right person for me? Am I making the right decision? You know, if they're not supposed to be in my life, I ask that you remove this distraction, that sort of thing. But once you get your blessing, don't stop praying for them. Don't stop praying for your relationship. And it's very easy to get so caught up in the excitement. Oh, I'm finally with somebody, have somebody here who I can talk to all the time, you know, somebody I can call my own, you know, and you just start forgetting about the spiritual aspect of a relationship. If God puts you together, then it's important to keep him in the midst of the relationship. And prayer is a great way to start that. So, Mel, do you have anything to say about like the importance of praying for your relationship, praying for your partner?
I think the most important thing when it comes to like praying for your partner is like praying for, I would say, for their healing and for just their healing, like physically, emotionally, and like every aspect of their life. And also praying that they, you know, for their goals, for their aspirations, like just everything. Pray for their peace, you know, their peace, you know, in their mind and their heart. You know, it's pray that they have a, you know, a calm spirit, like just praying over them, like once you know that you guys are together.
Yeah, I think that's important too. And I think that sometimes we forget that this person is still their own person outside of the relationship. Like they have their own struggles, they're dealing with things, and especially like me and Mel had a conversation where he was talking about how he was like, you know, beautiful. And it was something I had to work on where I was like, well, I want you to be happy. Like, be happy now. Like, be happy now. Like, what's wrong? Like, why can't you be happy? I'm happy. Be happy, you know? You know, be happy, be healthy. Like, it was like that kind of thing. And I had to learn. He was like, well, beautiful, you know, as a man, like, there are certain things that we just battle with on our own and we don't want to project it onto you. So we try to deal with it, you know? And he said, so sometimes it might take me a little more time to get over something or to work through something. But, you know, we can't just be like, get through something on our command. Like, I had to learn that, you know, it's like, babe, you know, or like how we sometimes, like, as like Christians, we'll be like, pray about it, it's fine. Right. Like, God's got it.
Yes.
It's because I told you to pray about it, everything is working.
Right.
Like,
yes.
You're fine, you can smile now because God exists. So, you know, like, you know what I mean? How like people do that? Yes. Like, you're covered. Like, what do you have to worry about? Like, all things work together for your good. And you'd be like, honestly, I love the Lord, but shut up.
Right.
You know, like
right
you do. Like, that's how you feel.
Yes.
So, like, Or like Antoine, can you say like you agree with that? Like sometimes men have things that they struggle with.
Definitely, and I think as Christians, it's like it's definitely one of those things where people will tell you, oh, God's got you. That's good. We still have emotions.
Yeah.
We still have feelings, emotions. So sometimes it might take us an extra day or whatever to process something.
Yeah.
But
I think that's important. Yeah, and it's okay to like for you guys to have emotions, because like I know a lot of people, or I had a lot of guy friends growing up. Not now, God knows. But
Glory to God.
Glory. I had a lot of be quiet. But y'all this why I can't bring them on here.
Listen, but God is working.
Yeah, but
none of that. There's none of that.
none of that. But yeah, like I had a lot of guy friends growing up. Yes, just friends. Like I did just have guy friends growing up at some point. But I did notice there was this really bad stigma that men aren't supposed to cry, that y'all aren't supposed to feel, and y'all are just supposed to be men and like suck it up. You were trained and, programmed to believe that, and it even starts sometimes from the household, especially if, you grow up in a household with a very like, I don't know, like toxic masculinity type of, syndrome sort of thing where your dad is like, boy, be quiet, like suck it up, like blah, blah, blah. And sometimes, of course, there are things that I truly believe, like as a woman, like, oh, that's fine, like he's being a man. But then sometimes you can also realize that thinking sometimes can be toxic too. Like, babe, maybe today you are hurt. Like, and I have to, as your woman, be more sensitive to how you're feeling and not expect you to suck it up like your parents did or your friends did growing up or your homeboys or whatever. And like realize that God never said, man, suck it up. Like, if you ever realize that, if any experience was like, if you think about like any man in the Bible, God was saying, yo, I see what you're going through, but lean on me. Like, I got you. He never said, just get over it. He said, trust in me and I got you. So like, if we're supposed to take on the same type of love and heart that God has, why is it so hard for us as women sometimes to be like, babe, don't suck it up. I got you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think about that?
Oh, that's good. Oh my God. Repeat that again.
I'm about to take it.
Like I don't know, maybe God is just speaking to me right now because I had never really genuinely thought about this before. It just popped in my head. But like as women, sometimes we're programmed to think a man is supposed to look like this. This is what a man is. And it's not even from a spiritual perspective. It's from a worldly perspective. Mm-hmm. Perspective. So why can't we, if we're supposed to, be our man's like helpmate and to love the way God wants us to love, why can't we be his support the way Jesus supported men in the Bible who loved him?
That's good. I guess it's another worldly view thing.
Yeah.
So like they have their roles and we have ours. So it's like we're expecting you to tuck that away for us so that we can move about the cabin, the way that we're supposed to. Yeah. So the same way they were programmed to a lot of the time hide those emotions, repress them and stuff. We were also programmed to be like, I'm not going to address those emotions that you have. Right. I don't even know how to begin to uncover that for you. So you deal with that, however you deal with it. And when you come here with me, all that's going to be squashed. We're not going to dig deeper. Right. So I think it's a lot of that, just the roles that society has set up for us. And it's like, you're over there, you're over there. When we come together, we're not talking about certain things. Yeah. So
that's true. That's very true. Very true. Very true. So like, do you ever feel like you guys have had a situation where you were like, well, okay, how do I put this? Let me say it like this. Women that I've encountered a lot of women, obviously I'm a woman, but we tend to have this thing where it's like, I need you to be a man when I want you to be a man, but I need you to be sensitive when I want you to be sensitive. Oh my God. But don't be them when you want to be there. Yes. You ever realize that? It's like, okay, today in this particular situation, be a man and suck it up. But then tomorrow, Be sensitive.
Yes.
I don't need all the extra manly stuff. I just need you to be sensitive now because this is what I need.
Yeah, very true.
But like, God's real love is dying to yourself. It's sacrifice.
Yes.
If you think about it, like in John 3:16, how the Bible says, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So that means God loved us so much that he gave up the one thing he loved more than like anything at that point. Because he cared about us and he loved us so much. He was like, oh, I'm going to send my son. So even if you look at the Bible's example of true love, it's giving up something. It's not worrying about yourself, but worrying about the other.
That's another thing I was thinking too when it comes to like prayer. It's like you also have to pray for yourself to make yourself a better person for the other person. Meaning like you have to pray to ask God to give you compassion for the other person. Meaning like, you know how they're saying, like they say there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Like sympathy is where, oh, I feel sorry for you. But empathy is where I feel your feelings. Like I feel how you feel. So like you have to pray and ask God to give you compassion for the other person so you can understand them and have a better understanding of them.
Yeah.
Like walk in their shoes.
That's very true.
But there's a big difference when you're with someone and like you actually walk in their shoes as opposed to like, oh, I feel sorry for what you're going through, as opposed to like, I can feel what you're feeling. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You know?
And
So you have to pray and ask God to work on that within you to help you.
Yes, Lord. And you can't get there without Jesus changing some things.
It takes a lot.
Yes.
Listen.
It's like your father was telling me how like you have to when you pray, well, your actual dad, your biological dad, your biological dad, not that. But he was talking about he was talking about the father though. You know, your father was talking about the father. You know what I'm saying? So when he was telling me how like when you're going through something, how like, you know, when he was talking about marriage, and he was talking about how like as husbands, when you're going through something, we can't blame it on our wives. If you have a struggle, we can't blame it on our wives. So he was saying how you have to pray for yourself, and you also have to pray for the other person. So because you can't change a person, only God can change a person, and only God can change you because God is in control. So you have to pray for yourself, and you have to pray for them that he does a transformation for both of you, so that you both can come together and connect and fix the problem and transform. You know, because he is in control of all of this.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think sometimes it actually makes me think about like how when we're mad at our significant other, like sometimes God goes out the window. He just does. And I feel like when I'm mad at him, I hear God's voice the clearest. Like actually. And I'll be like, man, forget you. Yeah. I love you, but forget you. And then God will be like, Brianna, I need you to go over there and like hold him. Like he'll tell me stuff like that. And I'll be like, no. Like, I just asked you to give me a sign about this, but now when I'm mad at him, I can hear you talking real clear. What is going on? Yes. And he's like, because how do I explain this? It's not just for him, it's for you too. Because both of y'all's anger right now is messing up what I designed and called it for a purpose. And if you let the enemy sink in, you know, then that's taking time away from what y'all could be doing for my glory, you know? And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm like, I don't care. And I'm just being honest. Like, so? Like, I'll be like, so? And he'll be like, Ariana, go over there and give him a hug. I don't like him. He's like, but if you give him a hug, you'll feel better too. He'll feel better. Y'all just need to talk. So I'll be like, and then he'll be like, beautiful, what you doing? I'll be like, I'm not doing anything. And I just like lay him there, and he'll be like, I'm sorry, I'm like, too, man, because, you know, I see what you did there, guys, because I need this too, man. Like, it's like, we have to learn to trust him even through our emotions.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
I've definitely had that happen with us before.
So
clearly, I remember once upon a time.
Now
Oh, God, yes. Probably like over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I was mad at him for something, like pissed off. And I was at work. I was at work, and I remember texting him, and he's like apologizing to me, and I'm like, no. And then like as clear as day, like I remember thinking, I was like, God, why would he do this? I'm like, he's supposed to love me and like XYZ. Why would he do this? And God was like, oh.
he's like, it's not the one from last week. He said it was a long time.
And God was like, he's not doing this intentionally to hurt you. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, he's not doing that intentionally. Like, look at his heart, you know, right now. He did not mean any malice towards you at all. Like, it was a mistake. So you have to move forward. Yeah. And once I heard that, I was like, okay. I was like, okay. Okay. I was actually like so much more calmer though after that. Like once I like heard that, I was like, oh, okay, we're good now. Okay, we're good now. Yeah, but definitely.
I should have thought
yes. Yes, but when you let that stuff like fester and sit there, it's not going to be conducive to your next.
Yeah. That's very true.
You gotta let it up. But this reminds me of like a scripture I saw the other day. It was in 2 Corinthians. I don't know like what part of the Bible it was. I was reading it, but it was saying how like God was saying that in your weakness my power works the best, like through weakness. So he was I'm like I lost my train of thought. But anyway, he was talking about how like I've also heard someone say, I'm quoting somebody, I can't remember who this person said, who it was who said this, but he was saying how like when you take a weakness and you put it out in the air, when something is put out in the open, it loses its strength. So you have to put your weakness out there so it loses its strength. So like any tension or any problem that you may have with your significant other or, you know, whoever, the best thing to do is put that weakness out there. Like God can't help you if you don't put your weakness out there. Like whatever it is that y'all may be battling with, if you don't put it out there and give it to God, then he can't deal with it. So until you put that weakness out there, then God can't, you know, move. You know? Because his power, that's the reason why probably that's what reminded me when you were talking about how like when you're angry with me, that's when you hear God the most, because that's when God is working. That's when his power is working the most. When you're like, when your flesh is at the weakest, that's when God is like working the hardest. So it's probably why you can hear his voice the best when you're upset, because his power works the best.
I'm that all the time. I hear him all the time. What's wrong with you? I'm trying to be angry so I can hear God.
Because you know what the Bible says, when you are weak, I am strong.
That's true.
You know?
So like, what do you like think about the importance of putting your pride aside to make sure that the relationship works out?
Talk about it.
It's everything. no, it's everything. We've been we've been together for
85.
8 years. You know, since 85. But, especially early in our relationship, pride was like that was me. Yeah. It's like I was just walking
ego.
Oh no, I mean, no, it's true. Like I had just a terrible ego, and even when I knew I was wrong, I was like, I'm not apologizing. Like, I was just like, it'll be okay. It'll work itself out.
I knew that.
Like, maybe it's just because I was younger. I don't know, but that was my thing. Your relationship won't flourish. It won't. It might look like it will, but that's purely surface. It's nothing but surface. And as you progress in your relationship, you're going to start to go through different struggles, and that pride thing, it's not going to take you anywhere.
Yeah.
Because when it looks like it's okay, it comes right back up, and then next thing you know, you're right back at square one.
Yep.
Very true.
Yeah. Like that's the importance of like communication while you're dating. I feel like everything really leads back to communication.
Very
like
true.
The good, the bad, the ugly. Talk about it. And I think sometimes like godly couples will be like, oh, like if I just pray about it, like God will be fine. But yes, God will work it out. But at the end of the day, you still have to talk to your significant other about it. So if there's something that your significant other does to you that pisses you off, or like, you know, really bothers you.
Something my sister told me too, but also helps me when it comes to prayer, is that my sister was telling me how, like, when she was talking about relationships, like, anytime you say something, once you say something, which we've learned this in our relationship, that once you say something, it can't be taken back.
No.
So what you have to do, what you have to do is, like, you have to go to God and pray to God and say, God, I'm something that, well, I can say in our relationship, something that you have done is upset me. So I had to ask God, what is the best way to, how can I get this point across and express my feelings, that this hurt my feelings, or this made me feel bad, or this pissed me off, or this hurt me. So I had to ask God, what way can I best say it without coming across in the wrong way? Like, God, give me the right words to say in the best way to express my feelings to her.
Yeah,
you
that's
true. You gotta pray about that.
That's very true. Like, he and I both, like, went through this phase of where neither one of us wanted to admit we were hurt. We were okay with letting the person know we were mad, but truly, anger is just the cover up for being hurt about something. Yeah. So, like, he was like, you want me to be sensitive and say I'm a man and, like, it's okay for me to cry, but you don't ever want to cry, you're hurt. He's like, you have this, like, mentality where I'm a strong, independent woman. I ain't gonna let you see me cry. And I was like, you're right. I ain't gonna let you see me cry.
I did. Looking at me.
And so I found myself wanting him to be vulnerable with me, but I wasn't even 100% vulnerable with him, you know? And I was like, that's because, you know, for me personally, that, like, we talk about, you know, before praying for your significant other, and, like, you know, them being people who have gone through things and having different traumas, and sometimes those can resurface without, I mean, randomly. It'll just be like a subject, and you're like, oh, wow, that triggered me. Like, you know, you go off on them, and then you're like, wow, God, like, I need you to heal that inside of me, because now I'm projecting it onto the person who's here. And that's a lot of times what these arguments stem from, are triggers from roots that we haven't pulled up yet, or allowed God to pull up yet. And so, like, that's stuff that I've had to work on, where he'll have to be like, yo, I'm not so-and-so. Like, I'm not like this. Like, what's your problem? And I have to be like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't even realize, like, I still was dealing with that. Or, like, you know, I have to apologize. And then sometimes just, like, cry and be like, you know, when you do that, like, that does hurt me, you know. And this reminds me of, not like, I know you're not this person, you've never done this to me, but just so you're aware, you know, like, people aren't psychic. And I think sometimes, like, even, like, especially women, we have this, like, well, he should know, like, automatically. But sometimes y'all really just don't know. Sometimes I don't know how y'all know. But y'all really just don't know. And we have to just be like, babe, like,
XYZ.
This is not okay. Like, yeah, like, this is not okay. He's not psychic. He's a human. You know, he makes mistakes. And they need forgiveness just as much as we do, you know? Of course, you know, everybody has things that they just consider unforgivable. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that God isn't going to forgive us for, you know? I mean, of course, there's things where you have to decide, this isn't healthy for me, and I may not need to be in a specific relationship. But overall, for your health and your walk with God, and just for growth, and God has already set you free, so don't bind yourself, you know, just forgive them.
Yes.
You know, just forgive them. Because you don't want those same memories and stuff coming back at you, and now you're missing out on blessings because you're so focused on what happened rather than what's going to happen and what God has called to happen in your life, you know?
Absolutely. I think for us, a lot of the root stuff, because we've been together our whole lives, so a lot of it is, like, childhood things.
Yeah.
So as we've gotten older, it's like recognizing how we communicated as a child, how our parents communicated with us, to other people, things like that. And those things will resurface, and it's like, well, why do I do that? And finally realizing, oh, it's because my mom did such and such when I grew up, and now I've, you know, brought that into our relationship because that's just all I've known how to do. So I think within the past couple of years, we've been, like, digging into that. Okay, well, that wasn't healthy, the way our parents chose to communicate with us. And now, like, how do we work to improve that so we don't do that to each other, our future children, XYZ, down the line, you know, how that doesn't keep going, because those generational curses are for real. They legit. So, yeah,
Listen.
they're real.
Yeah,
So
for real, yeah.
it's like cutting stuff off at the head. And sometimes when you're like, especially for our generation, when you're the first to like break that sort of stuff and like really recognize it, and you see how God is trying to work through you to break that, it can be so hard, exhausting to break those chains. So yes, absolutely.
So what are some tips you think like are for people who are dealing with generational curses and want to know how to break some things off of their lives and are dealing with family members who, have caused traumas and pains and things like that?
For me, I guess the first thing is you have to name it in order for it to expel. So you have to know what it is in order for you to like cast it out, So whatever that is for you, whatever way you get through things, writing, journaling, therapy, counseling, whatever, praying to God, because God will give you revelations. He's given me so many. But whatever it is, whatever you see that it is, you have to pray over those things. Pray to God, be like, okay, well, if I'm exuding these behaviors, if like this is coming up, like let me pray through this, be cognizant and aware if you are doing those behaviors, and just pray over yourself and your spouse, your person, any future lineage that's attached to you.
That's good. Yeah. I think sometimes people forget about the next. They're so focused on God, I need. But all right, if you don't deal with this now, then your kids will be dealing with it.
Exactly.
That ain't fair.
Yeah.
I'm trying from the beginning, we didn't ask to be here. We're already dealing with that.
That's like that thing on Facebook where it says like heal from your childhood trauma, so your children don't have to heal from you as a parent.
Yeah,
that reminds you of that.
That's good.
That's true. That's very good. And I think that's important to talk about. Is like once you do get married and decide to have children, talk about like how you want to raise your children. I think a lot of people were like, oh, I want to be a mom, I want to be a dad, I want to have kids, but then forget about like, oh, but I want to raise my kid like that. Like, no, but I want to raise a kid like that. And then it becomes this huge thing. Well, they're already here. Now we're in the middle of this argument. It's like, talk about the way you want to raise your child before your child comes. You know what I'm saying? So they're not dealing with the drama, So like you said something about counseling. Like, so anybody jump in. I love when people say that. And just jump in. Feels so fancy saying that. But yeah, like anybody jump in about like, especially within like the Black community, how important it is for us to get counseling and to deal with things. Because, a lot of us are like, our grandmother, baby, God got it. He's a healer. He's a way maker. And you're like, yes, he is. But I'm about to call 800 Crystal Clear Counseling because I need help, Grandma. Like, that was good in the 30s. But right now, I need somebody to talk to me. Like, I need help.
I can't say this one thing. It's just I'm sure that this reminds me of like what I would say I got this one thing from my mom, and then another thing I saw in the video saying how like at the end of the day, God is the source, but He gave you resources. So counseling is a resource.
Talk about it.
Like how my mom, when she was talking about how you have a mother, you have a father, you have a brother, you have a sister, you have friends. Those are resources that God gave you. So people will be like, oh, and I'm gonna pray to God, and God gave you these things. These people that are around you, like we're each other's resources. Yeah. That's all. These resources that came from the source. So use this stuff because it came from the source.
Awesome.
You know how people are like, oh, just pray about it. You don't got to go to therapy. No, therapy is a resource from God. God gave you doctors. He gave you all these people resources.
Yes.
Faith without works is dead.
Dead.
So dead to the dead.
It's true.
It's in the word. The word says it. Yes. But you cannot pray and not do anything.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
It's not how it works. The end.
What are your thoughts on it?
I used to be very anti-counseling, but that's just because of how I was raised.
Yeah.
Within the last couple of years, like Mel said, it's all resources. Like people will pray that God will take away, whatever sickness, and then go right back to doing whatever made them sick.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you can't, you know, it doesn't work like that. You can't just pray that it'll go away and then go back to shoving cookies in your face. I mean, like, if you got diabetes.
I'm not talking.
If you got diabetes, you gotta eat right.
That's right.
Or people who are like, and I know, you know, some people just don't believe in taking medicine, but if you know,
You have 7 personalities, and your medicine can narrow that down.
Yeah, go ahead.
We can conjoin it to like 3 or 2, maybe.
I think you should do that.
You should do that. I think you should
it's a
take
good
that.
idea.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I
Absolutely.
can't stand you right now. If you have 7 personalities,
Yes. But it's true.
it's
Like,
so funny.
you know, you eat like all types of grease and
Yeah.
salt and pork and all these other fattening foods.
No. No. She was like, Apriana.
It's true.
Show
Like
did fry some chicken yesterday.
Yes,
And had some
true.
Skittles and stuff. A bag of M&Ms over there.
It's true. And especially for us being minorities,
Oh, yeah.
black and brown people, like, this stuff is out to kill us, right? What's up? We black. You see us. This stuff is out to kill us, and you cannot continue to eat this and expect to get better.
Yeah.
No wonder your pills are not working, because you're not working them. So, like,
Y'all see why they on here, though, right? Y'all see.
Well, they got what they call nutritionists.
yes.
Ooh.
No, I'm talking about nutritionists. How they tell you like what to eat.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's a resource.
I need me one. Because they did not say about an extra large bag of caramels.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I did get the family size. I be my own family.
Yeah. That was probably my fault. You know what I'm saying? I got too big of the bag.
It wasn't too big. It was fine.
Yeah.
See, now you have to go buy no more. We don't have like enough. See, my God is success. He
True,
will
it's like
provide
getting
a
a big
way
thing of toilet paper,
sufficient. We will lack
You know what I'm
nothing.
saying?
Lack nothing. Jesus, thank you, Lord.
Yes. Yes.
But I do have a question for everybody. So, I mean, this deals with like just relationships in general. How do you guys feel, or what are your thoughts about keeping other people, including your family, out of your relationship?
You should
Love
keep
it.
them out of your relationship
I
at
love
all
it.
costs.
He said, I love
I
it.
love it.
At all costs. Whatever it
Family,
is.
family is great. I love family. It's wonderful. Family has they're really good at getting in your head.
Yeah.
And
True.
if they don't like the person you're with, they can make you not like that person.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true.
Nothing against my
Yeah,
family.
very
My
true.
family's great, and they love her, but I don't tell them nothing.
And vice
Yeah.
versa. Keep them out. Because what will happen is you have a problem. You tell your family. Family holds on to that problem. You done forgave him or her. The next thing you know, you come around all the family functions, they side-eyeing you. I remember 2 years ago when Antoine did such and da-da-da-da-da, and I just don't forgive you. And giving stink looks, and now nobody want to hang with you. Nobody wants to do any of that. And now I'm in the middle between rock and a hard place because I done blab my big mouth. So, yeah, keep them out of the business. All of it.
What about you?
As far as me, I would say the same thing and just keep it positive. So anytime, even when we were talking about that time, we could be mad at each other, or we'll be on the phone like our parents would call us, or our siblings, we'll be like, oh, how's Nell doing? How's Arby doing? We'll be like, oh,
They're
doing
great.
fine. Yeah, but
He is fun. He is really good.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And another thing too, like you remember the other day we were at my parents' house, and I thought about that when you were saying that, how like what was it? We were talking about, you know, the homes for my parents, and my granddad's homes, his properties back home in Newberry, and
Yes,
we
I
were talking
remember.
about, and I was like, you know, for us it's a no. Well, I said for her it's a no.
Yeah.
And learning that, you know, we together come up with a decision, and then we say it as a collective, not putting it on you saying that this person is saying this to make you look a certain type of way.
Yeah.
Or, you know, that's like you going to your parents and being like, I had to realize that. I I had to realize that I had to take from you when you were telling me, like, we make a decision as a collective, and we say, as a collective, this is what we came up with. Not just putting it on one person, but saying together, this is what we came up with. Like you say, it's us against everybody. The world, yeah. So it's like we have to come together. Like what we heard in counseling the other day when he was saying how like you protect your wife against everybody, then you protect your husband against everybody else.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's a big thing. Once people get married, is remembering that it's no longer you and your parents and then you and your spouse. It's like it's you and your spouse.
That's it.
And you came from your family. You love your family. You respect your family. But God says leave your parents and cleave to your husband, cleave to your wife. So your family has to respect that, and that was something that I had to, start teaching myself. It's like, okay, like Aubriana, because I'm very, very close to my family, like super close. Like I probably talk to my mom like every day, hey, how you going? Just to laugh, checking on you, that sort of thing, But realizing like, oh, there's certain things, I can't talk to you about this. I won't. Or even like my sister, we were close and she might be like, hey, what's going on with this and that? And I might have to be like, how are you? It's no longer my business is Mel. Right. And Mel's business is me. And that's that. Yeah. Like, I can't, there's no other information. Even if I look at you, you'd be like, yeah, you both looking at each other crazy. Be like, what? I can't help you. And people have to respect that. If you can't respect that, then we might not just need to see each other that often. Right. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to have to side with him. I mean, it's personal.
True. That reminds me of the thing, like, the other day from counseling, too, when a guy was talking about the dude and his mom. And, like, well, I can say this for me because I'm a mama's boy. And saying how, like, saying how your mom looks at you different than, like, how when you get married, you have a wife. So it's like your mom sees you as like, oh, this is my baby and everything. But at the end of the day, your wife views you from you are her man, and she looks at you. She needs you to be her husband. As your mom, like, oh, that's my baby. But at the end of the day, your wife has to come first, and she looks at you from a different perspective than your mom does. So like, you have to make that transition to be like, it's my wife before anything,
Yeah, your mom's not gonna look at you as delicious. Like, she's just not.
Yeah.
Like,
that's just a baby in diapers.
Yeah. I don't see you. You don't have diapers on. No diapers. But God knows.
Yeah.
No, we can't. Won't he do it? Yes, Lord. You can do it.
I cannot. Setting boundaries is important.
Yes.
Like, you have to. So, I have a problem with setting boundaries myself with my family. But when it comes to us, I don't think I have that problem, cutting off. Yeah. No, but while you're dating, I think it's important as you're moving towards marriage, have that conversation with your family. Yeah. Have that conversation with your friends. There are certain things I will not be able to do as a married woman. There are certain places I cannot go when I'm married. There are certain things that I just cannot converse with you about that. I cannot do that with you. I cannot be that. So now I'm presented as the world. Yes, I am Latrice, but also like, you see this ring, so I'm also representing us.
I can't wait to see it.
Yes. I'm representing us.
I want to be there.
Our covenant to God. So
like the ram in the bush. I want to be in the bush.
I told you.
I just wanted to make sure you hadn't forgotten her.
No, I never forgot.
I didn't say she had to see me, but I must see her.
Yes.
Casey?
We'll work it out.
Okay. She that's crazy. I will pretend like I wasn't there if you need me to. They just let me know my role. As long as I'm an active participant visually. I don't care.
We'll work it all out.
You'll pop about it, don't
right. I said, won't he do it? I said he would. So, continue, Baba.
Please. Yes. That can be hard hard though to set boundaries with people, especially that you're so close to, that you spend so much time with, and that you love. And some people are going to get it. Like you and I, we have great boundary setting. We always have though. That's just been us.
Very interesting.
So like, honestly, no lie, it's like we have the perfect friendship.
We really do.
We have the perfect boundaries, like, and we can cross those cross boundaries, not really cross, like they're side by side, and we'll like peek over, hey girl, how you doing? Hey girl, how you doing? Whatever. But
we cannot talk for 12 years, and we would be like, girl,
yes,
yeah, all right,
yes, exactly.
That's
like I still love you. Yeah.
She's always there.
Yes. It's true. It's true. But
because we understand
yes,
each other. We have a very similar mindset. But go ahead, girl.
Also train of thought, but you got to prepare people for boundaries. So have to have difficult conversations with people. You have to, because your marriage will be coming first. Yeah. So do what you got to do.
Yeah. First. I wish I could zoom in. I just want to find out if I can zoom in. First.
One.
But yeah, I think that's true but I also find that people who don't have the same relationship status with you are usually the people who take more offense to it, because they don't understand it as much. They're not in it. It's one thing to view it from the outside, but when you've been through it or you're living through it, you're able to relate to it better. So like, you get married and your single friend is like, oh, now she never have time for us no more. Yes, I have a whole man at home waiting for me. Of course, I don't have as much time.
Yes.
I still love you,
yes.
But like, he's in the kitchen making dinner. Like, I'm gonna eat. You know what I mean? Like, babe, I'm coming. Like, I'm right here. I'll be right there.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I think that's the thing. Like, if you are a friend who struggles with like jealousy or envy, you have to ask God to break that. You never want to be jealous of what anybody has, but especially not somebody close to you. I mean, you should always want what's best, for your friend, for people in general, and it's not right for you to try to make someone feel bad because they're growing or God has blessed them with something. Mm-hmm. It's easy to spot out a like fake friend when they're supporting you and everything else except your success. You know what I mean? Like, girl, yeah, okay, good, okay, we both down together. Girl, guess what happened? I got a job. You did. Oh, I'm happy for you. Because, God.
Misery loves company.
Yes.
Misery loves company.
It does. Absolutely. It does. But I think that's why it's important. And that's another part is to pray for God to send you a godly couple. Mm-hmm. Like, because once you're, married, not saying you can't have single friends. That's a very fine line to walk.
It's weird though.
It is
weird.
It is. It's like that's where I think the boundaries things come in. Like, okay, I'm not gonna just stop being your friend because I'm married now. But like, bro, sis, I can't, like you said, do the same things. Like, if you're going out to the bar, I'm home. Like, I'm at home and I pray God sends you the one. You know what I mean? Like, I will give you advice, but I can't do the same things. And I feel like, it's just healthier and safer to be
very true.
safer to just do things as a couple, like, and never cross that gender boundary either. Like, for example, we can all hang out. Me and Latrice can hang out. Mm-hmm. Antoine and Mel can hang out. God, I hope so. Y'all need to get out. God has been working on this. Woo! Said he would. Okay? But I'm never about to be like, yo, Antoine, what you doing today? Let's chill. Let's go get a smoothie.
Figuring out some rings, then that's fine.
I don't even think so. You send me pictures. I'm not coming.
That's weird.
It is weird. I'm not even. I won't.
Yeah.
I won't.
No.
Like, Mel's not gonna be like, hey, what's up, Latrice? Like, want to get a burger? You know?
Why you make it sound like that, yo?
Like, some burger fries.
I can't.
He's got plans.
Want to get a bird? I can't, yo.
But yeah, we can't. You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't. It's a respect thing.
Absolutely.
So that leads me to my other questions. You know, I always got questions. How do you guys feel about friends of the opposite sex? Anybody? You want to say them?
What's his name in the words of Randy Jackson's? It's a no for me, though. Yeah.
It's like, it rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
wool.
Yeah.
It rubs you the wrong way for me.
Yes.
Okay. Because he has a
I have one female friend.
Oh.
And yeah. No, trust me, I understand. Like, I get that. It rubs me the wrong way. You can call me a hypocrite. I'll wear that one. But I don't know.
Is
It
that a
just rubs
hat
me the wrong way.
that you're wearing?
I can get a hat that says hypocrite.
No, don't do that. So,
And we're not close friends either. I would say we're not even like close friends. So
Sorry. That was funny.
oh.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. That's what I'll say. I'm not a fan.
Took her right onto the wrong. Next. Alright,
it looks weird. It makes people ask questions.
Yeah.
Questions that don't need to be asked.
Yeah. I think that's our view has changed of that too over the years. You know, from high school to now.
Oh, yeah,
so
definitely.
you know, growing up, like you said, oh, you have friends with their friends. They're friends. Everyone's friends. Friends.
Can Aubrey come out? Those days. Sure, Jimmy. As long as you stay in the circle, I can see you. Everybody had that one kid always knocking on the door.
Yes.
Jimmy, where are your parents?
Right.
You're always over my house. Oh God, I love y'all.
Oh, God. Yes, as you grow, though, I think your view of that should change. Like,
Yeah.
That's that.
All right.
There's not much to say about it. Really, I mean, like I said, I have one female friend, and I completely understand how that makes her feel. Not close. I don't even communicate with her like just her. It's a group of us, and we all communicate together. So, I guess if you do have female friends, make sure it's safe. Make sure it's safe. I mean,
Yeah.
make sure it's safe.
That's good.
So, I never said mine. No. So, you won't do it. We both disagree that it's not safe. Like, because sometimes, like, even more so if they're single, like, you, like, it could be, it just seems dangerous.
Like, already with the same sex, like, singles, that are your friends, that's already difficult, you know, like, so now you add the opposite of no, because we know what single ladies do.
Yes, we do.
So, like,
the freaks come out at
the
night.
freaks come out
Back
at
in the
night.
day, now they're just around all the time. So
It is like when
all
you're
the
mad at
time.
your
Yeah, all day.
I said that is like when you're mad at your
Oh.
you go to them. Yeah, so they can like kind of create a gateway.
Yeah, gateway for the devil and the enemy.
Yeah.
That's what we call.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that actually makes me think about and I just lost my train of thought as I pointed my finger.
Yeah.
Come on, Holy Spirit. Help me. What about being friends of the opposite
Gateway.
sex and the gateway?
What you
Y'all, I'm sorry, y'all.
you said in the gateway. You said let me think. I was talking about what I was saying was about how when you get mad at your significant other, y'all got something going on.
Thank you. You
when
find
bring your-
specimen God created.
Your problems to them.
That's another thing. When you're in a relationship, don't take your problems outside of your home. Like, because that's like, I always think about it like the Tyler Perry movie. Why Did I Get Married?
It's a great movie.
The hero syndrome that she talked about. Jill Scott, beautiful. The hero syndrome. When you're vulnerable, you start getting attracted to somebody that you think is your hero coming in to save the day because they're there while you're vulnerable, while you're hurting. Then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm married or I'm in a relationship, and now I'm sitting here texting this man or woman on my feelings and insecurities. I'm starting to develop feelings and all this kind of stuff. It's not good. That's why you go to your spouse, you go to your significant other. Like for me, I might be like, babe, I don't like you. Let me tell you why. I don't like you. That's how I tell him, because that's the best way I know how. Y'all gotta still work.
You like, I don't like you right now.
I do. He's like, what's going on? I don't like you.
Listen,
This is why. Because
my body on
X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z. I feel like this. And he'll be like, you don't want to talk to me? I don't, because I just said I don't like you. But you know what? It's better to do that than to be like, oh, I don't have a guy friend. Give me a name.
I don't,
Daquan.
Yeah, Daquan.
Wow.
That's my LB.
Oh, no, not that. Isaac. Jacob. Moses.
Ishmael.
Rocket made me mad. Talk to me about it. You know what? You have a good point. Like, you know how, like, a lot of guys, when they're trying to be slick, they're like, oh, I wouldn't do you like that. Like, no, you're a good girl. You don't deserve. Antoine's just over it. He ain't even real. I hate Isaac.
You already know this game.
Like, that's such a, like, it's such a guy thing to do.
Yeah.
It's just such a guy thing to do. And guys make me sick, honestly. Like, it's terrible.
That's
Yeah.
what happened last week.
Yeah.
I'm a man, but
Yeah.
like, men make me sick, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be real.
You don't like y'all?
Nah, yes.
You know how y'all think, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the thing I'll tell you about how, like, when you have, you know, I always tell you about how, like, coming from a guy's point of view, you have problems how your significant other should be, like, your safe place or, like, where you feel secure.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, like we were talking about earlier in this episode about how a guy will feel as though he has to suppress his feelings, so he finds other ways to, like, which goes also back to what your dad was saying, how, like, you have a problem, you can't blame it on your wife or your girlfriend. You have to go to God about it, and you have to give it to God and let it go, or either, like, talk it out with them. But a lot of times, guys, what they'll do is because they have to. We have insecurities and all these things. We have egos. We have insecurities. So it's like the way to deal with our insecurities and things like that is we'll go out and we'll find a way to deal with it. Whether it be, I'm just gonna be real, whether it be from women, smoking, drinking, we find different ways to deal with those insecurities. So you have to learn how to go to God about it or go to your significant other, which both men and women, that they should be each other's safe place where you feel like you can go, you can be vulnerable, you can be open, and I feel secure with my significant other. Because a lot of times the reason why that's not me justifying why I'm just speaking from a man's point of view. That's not justifying why men do that stuff, but I do know a lot of times why they do it is because their insecurities, their ego, and they can't express that too. They feel as though I can't express my insecurities and my, if this makes you feel down, I feel bad, I'm dealing with stuff in life, I feel I can't express this to this woman, so I'm going to go out to things to deal with that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you have to learn to give that to God or give that, talk that out with your significant other.
Okay.
So
from a guy's perspective, for both of you guys, obviously not Latrice, she's not a guy. So y'all know I'm talking to y'all. How do you, what are ways to make sure you don't step out on your significant other? Like, obviously, we're all being real. Like, we know other people are attractive. We know that, there's other beautiful women, there's other attractive men, whatever. Like, God wasn't going to make one fine person and be like, the rest of them just... He doesn't do that. He just doesn't. I've seen it. You know what I mean? Like, he don't do that. So, what are ways, that you guys... boundaries that you guys set, or ways that you guys make sure that you're staying faithful and loyal, especially nowadays when it's so easy to just text somebody or Snapchat somebody. It's gonna disappear in 3 seconds. What do you guys do to help prevent that?
See, I feel like it's kind of weird because I don't go out like.
He's like, stay home.
Yeah, it does help though.
Stay at home. Just stay at home. If you know, like for me personally, my friends.
Your friends.
My friends.
Oh, your friends.
My friends. Love my friends. They're great. My friends are not, for where I'm going in life, it's not best that I hang out with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be able to realize that.
That's good.
Like, my best friend, love him to death, can't hang out with him all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go out, if he wants to get a beer,
Yeah.
But a beer for him ends up, you know.
Back to that story I told about being mad, that was connected.
It was, wasn't it? It
was.
Yes, but
that's what it was.
That's what we're talking. Yes.
Anyways, you just gotta just.
You want some juice?
No, just
Got juice.
you gotta be able to check yourself. Like if you know you can't hang out with certain people, don't.
Don't.
It's just that simple. Just don't. Don't hang out with certain people.
Yeah.
Don't go out past a certain time. I mean, yeah, that's just me.
What's
you
your
want my opinion? Well,
that's me.
My opinion, I agree with the friend thing, because friends can, listen, I would say, not to talk bad about my LBs, you know what I'm saying, but...
If y'all watching, he's about to tell y'all how you do
not to talk bad about them, but it is very true, you know. Your environment does play a big role. They can have your environment, it can get in your spirit and get you in a place you should be in. You know what I'm saying? So I will say that. But I'm going to quote two people. First, I'm going to quote my mom, then I'm going to quote J. Cole.
You better quote Bella.
Mom and J. Cole. So my mom used to always say that. My mom used to always say, she used to always say that you always got to be your own man. So I always carried that throughout my whole life. So even though my friends, you know, they would be, I'm not going to lie, they would be all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that I didn't indulge some of that stuff too. You know, with the...
He's a changed man.
You know what I'm saying? Not saying I didn't indulge in some of that stuff too. But at the end of the day, I had to learn to be my own man and have my own way of thinking and, you know, get on my own road. So even when I'm in that environment, I have the self-control to be like, I'm not going to, you know, fall victim to, not saying I never did, because sometimes I did, but I had to learn to, you know, be my own man. So I always, anytime I was caught in a type of situation, my mom would always run through my mind, you have to be your own man. And the same thing like the J. Cole, I'm about to quote J. Cole. When J. Cole said, you ain't a man till you stop chasing your friends. So when you have your own mind, that's what makes you a man. So I didn't learn that till I was probably about maybe 23, 24. I'm old now, I'm 26. But when I was like maybe 23, 24, but oh, I'm not old, but you know what I'm saying. I'm always the oldest one when it comes to like.
If you're like, oh, when I'm 23, 24, I'm 40 now. Like, that'd be different. You like, that now when I was 23.
I was talking about my LBs and like out of my whole line, I'm the oldest one on the line. Like,
you are.
I'm always the oldest one out of everybody, like in CIA. Like, well, not everybody, but I'm the oldest one that comes to like the people in the 20s. So like, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I learned that being a man is like having your own thing. Because a lot of time when it comes to men, like I heard somebody say this in a podcast saying that what they were referring to like heterosexual men. They said heterosexual men will go out and want to impress other. They will do things. They will cheat on women to impress other heterosexual men. So it's like when you become a man, you have to have your own way of thinking. Like your own. You're not a man till you have your own, you know, train of thought. Like you're not trying to follow and be in with the crowd. You can have your own. Yeah. That's what makes you a man. People think what makes you a man is like, oh yeah, I'm down with the guys. Like no, being a man is saying this is what I want to do and I'm gonna stand on it. If I don't want to do what y'all doing, I'm gonna stand on it. Like I remember, like I feel victim to peer pressure a lot, but what made me a man and what made people respect me was me being like, this is what I want to do and I stand on it. If I don't want to smoke, I don't want to smoke. And you know, every time I'm around you that I'm not gonna smoke. And the fact that I stand on it is what makes me a man, not saying I'm gonna smoke with you. That doesn't make me a man. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got all these women. That doesn't make me a man. But standing on what I believe in is what makes me a man. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would teach my son, is that standing on what you believe in is what makes you a man, not following them. Because they'll have you believing that, and society will have you believing that following what they do, this is what makes you a man. No, having your own way of thinking and doing what you want to do is what makes you a man. I'm going to do this, and I stand on it, and I believe in what I believe in. I'm not wavering based on what's going on around me.
You're so fine.
You know what I'm saying? You're a man in the jungle anywhere. Like, you don't waver based on your environment.
That's true. I mean, God called us to be set apart.
Sorry, I went off for the whole thing.
No, it's good.
Go ahead, minister.
Yeah, wow.
And one day he'll accept it. But I mean, I think that's awesome. You know, it's like, it's just true. Like, it's just true. I think that's awesome. Like, yeah, you were called to be set apart. Like, it's not the easier road to take, but it's like, I do think at the end of the day, people might judge you, but the more they realize you're serious about, like you said, your stance, the more they do respect you. Like, you know what? She's different or he's different, but because you're not trying to be somebody that you're actually not, like, I respect you more for that.
It was like I was saying about my LBs, how like they know me that when they're around me, that I'm not with all the wilding out. Like, they know that, like, oh, that's male, that's what he does, awesome. You know? Yeah. They know that they don't expect for me to be, you know, outrageous. They know I'm like chill, I don't do all that, you know? Not saying I never did, but they know, like, you know, I've grown, I've improved, I'm no longer that, like, I do what I do. You know, I'm not wilding out, you know? So don't expect that from me, you know, and they respect that.
That's awesome.
You know?
That's awesome. You want
Yeah,
that?
you know?
That's awesome.
That's powerful. Yeah. Your environment will change for you.
Yeah. That's true. It's like either you'll change your environment or your environment will change you. So you got to make sure that you're changing your environment. Because people nowadays sometimes, y'all think this is a game. He's really coming.
It's a cold world.
It's
cold
freezing.
world.
But yeah, I think that's awesome. You know? And I think sometimes, unfortunately, you have to have the courage and the strength to even walk away from friends you've known your whole life.
That takes a lot.
Like, you know, because the people, well, I grew up with this person. You know, that's been my brother since I was in diapers. And it's like, well, you wear, like, Hanes now. And I think it's time to, like, grow up, you know?
You're boxers, but you're still
They're still in the diapers. You know? And I think that's true. It's like you don't let your environment hinder where God is trying to take you, you know?
Pray for the strength to walk away.
Yeah.
Because listen, it takes strength to walk away.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Especially people who like, oh, well, you changed. You're like, we all should.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you. I have.
Yeah.
You know? You should too. You know, it's working all my life.
That's a big compliment to say you changed.
Yeah. What about you for women? What do you think?
Absolutely. I had a thought just now, and I feel like it evaporated. Oh my God, into thin air. My Lord. I think sometimes, like, we get scared to let go of old things. And people, and we're like, oh, well, what are we losing? You know, like, we want to hold on to it so bad. And it's like, oh, well, I have a big thing with, like, I can take you with me. Like, come on. Like, let's go along. Come on, girl, get saved. Get on your knees and pray. Like, something. Like, but it doesn't quite work like that. Yeah, you can't really force people the same way God, you know, he don't force us to do nothing. You have free will to take it or leave it. So I think I don't really struggle with that per se, but it can definitely be hard to give up something old and pursue something new. You have to just keep in mind that you're gaining so much more, you know, and God will set up that provision, and those people will be waiting for you, you know, so.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think sometimes, like, you just have to, like, because we're in the technological age, like, block them. I mean, sometimes it takes that. Like, there are times where you can have a clean, like, all right, we're departing. Like, I respect you, you respect me, but sometimes not everybody understands that. So sometimes you just gotta block them
True.
with a capital B.
Firm believer in blocking people.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
I have a very long list of block numbers in my
me
phone.
too.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this? I don't know who that is anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just sometimes have to block people, you know. And I mean, don't block people just because you're afraid to have that hard conversation. Like, actually try. Like, you know, gives a person at least common courtesy to be like, hey, like, I just can't because of where I'm going. So they're just not like, oh, hey, girl, hey, boy. Hello, I've texted you 2 years ago and I never got a response, you know. But yeah, sometimes for your health, you just have to block people and cut them off. Like, even some like crazy cases, change your number. Like, you do what you gotta do. Like, if it's serious, like, and you gotta like get away from some people, like, change your number, like, all of that. Like, you just do. Your health and your spiritual like growth is more important than somebody leeching off of you and like sucking you dry, pretty much, you know. But yeah, you guys have any questions or anything you want to talk about? Anything else? Yeah.
Snooze.
Nah, that was it.
Okay.
That was a whole lot.
Well, this was great. I really enjoyed this. We got a lot out. Prayerfully, you guys will be back if you would like to, you know, spend some more time with us or whatever.
A few chat chats.
To it. But yeah, let's pray out of this awesome conversation we just had. Okay. So, Father God, in the name of Jesus, we praise you and we honor you, God, and we thank you for the conversation we just had. Allow it to touch somebody, Lord, doing in our lives. I thank you for your protection, for clarity, for revelation, breakthrough, God, and for growth, Lord. Allow us to continue to grow and to touch people's lives, Lord God. And we appreciate you, we honor you, and we love you. Allow us to continue to lean on you so that our relationships can grow, Lord, and be a reflection of your love. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching this video. Prayerfully, we'll be able to have them back on, or even, you know, more couples to come. We never know what God's gonna do. Have a great day. We love you. Bye.
Peace out. Stay strong. Stay